Good morning to everyone. Now let us will have the talk on posterior compartment of arm, where we had stopped or in the midway, just because you will be not having a sufficient space in the water particular memory card. It has been left. Now in continuation with that, so it is a episode 2 in regards to the water posterior compartment of a arm, where the only one muscle will be there. That muscle is called as the tricep, as you already know. So we already finished the origin point and as well as its course of the water, that of the tricep long head, and as well as how it will be going to run from its point of origin, that is what is said to be as the infraglenoid tubercle, downwards and towards the laterally, running in between the two muscles. That two muscles are the water that of, one is what is the teres minor, keeping above and behind the long head of the tricep at the upper part, while the another muscle, when this long head of the tricep runs further down towards the laterally, the other muscle which will be the water, that of the teres major, will be keeping below part of the water, that of the long head of the tricep in front. While it will be doing so by the long head, it produces the two spaces. Those two spaces are called as one is a quadrangular space, another will be the water, very much small one, and another big triangular spaces. Now these things you have to deal. Now going to the water, that of the, where you can say big triangular space. The big triangular space is the space, the one which will be present, below and medial to the water, that of the long head of the water tricep, as well as it is present below and medial to the water quadrangular space. Now this big triangular space, its base is formed by, and it is directing upwards towards the laterally, and it is formed by the lower medial fibers of teres, lower medial fibers of the water long head of the tricep, while upper medial boundary of this triangular space is formed by the lower lateral fibers of teres minor, and the water, that of the lower lateral boundary of this triangular space, it is formed by the upper medial fibers of that of the teres major, while the apex is directing downwards and towards medially, formed by an overlapping of teres minor and teres major respectively from above down. So this space which will be there, it is giving the space for traversing of traversing of circumflex scapular vessels, circumflex scapular vessels and nerves and nerves. So this is something. Now you will be going to get the what? The another very much small space. Now that small space is a space which is of a triangular, which is formed by, and it is present just you can say below and lateral to the what? That of the quadrangular space, and above and lateral to the what? That of the big triangular space. This you can say small triangular space. The base is you can say directing straightway towards the lateral end, and it is formed by the what? Medial aspect of upper end of that of the humerus. So this is the base, and base for this is big triangular is this. This will be the what? Apex of big triangle. This is the base is formed by the what? Upper medial surface, or rather medial surface of the upper end of the tibia for that small triangular space. The apex is directing you can say straightway towards medially, and it is formed by an overlappings of this is the apex. Overlappings of that of the lateral fibers of the what? That of the long head of the tricep to that of lower lateral fibers of teres major. This is the apex. Now this where you can say small triangular space, it is having about borders. Now this borders, this is the what? Upper medial boundary is formed by the lower lateral fibers of the teres major, while lower medial fibers or the lower medial boundary is formed by the what? Upper lateral fibers of the what? Long head of the tricep. So this will be the thing for the triangular. Then this you can say small triangular space does not transmit any structures, but it is occupied only by the what? Areolar tissues, that's all. So it is called as even myological triangle. But this big triangular is called as the myological triangle. Only muscles, their bones and the muscles. Then coming to the what? That of the quadrangular space. Quadrangular space is a space which is present above and lateral to the big triangular space, and it is formed by upper medial fibers are formed by the lower lateral fibers of teres minor, while lower medial fibers or a boundary is formed by the upper lateral fibers of long head of the tricep. Then lower lateral boundary is formed by the upper medial fibers of teres major. Lateral border is formed by, this is lateral, that to upper lateral border is formed by medial aspect of upper end of humerus. Now if this is the thing, this quadrangular space is allows the some structures. Now those structures you will be having, this is what is said to be as the posterior circumflex humeral artery, posterior circumflex humeral veins, and the axillary nerve from the posterior cord of the brachial plexus. Now those will be going to get transmits. Now with having all these things, now we have to talk on the water that of the lateral head of the water that of the tricep. The lateral head of the tricep is the one which will be taking origin from posterior surface of upper end of the water that of the, you can say, humerus, just above the spiral, just above the spiral or radial groove. Also it takes origin from the water deep fascia of the water that of the back of the arm, and it also takes origin from the lateral intramuscular septa. From all these points of origin, this muscle, it will be going to run downwards and towards medially to join to the water long head of the tricep and as well as the medial head of the tricep. Then without having a doubt, there will be one more head will be there. That head will be the water that will be medial head. The medial head of the water that of the tricep, it will be taking origin from entire length. The water that of the deep fascia of the back of the water that of the arm, as well as it takes origin from the water medial and the water lateral supracondylar line or ridge, then medial and the water lateral intramuscular septas. From all these points of origin, this muscle means medial head of the water tricep takes origin, and apart from that, this medial head of the tricep, the major origin of this is posterior surface of shaft of the water that of the humerus below and medial to the water that of the spiral groove up to the water that of the olecranon fossa, the entire up circumference of the olecranon fossa, it takes origin. From all that point of origin, this you can say medial head runs backwards. Why it will be running backwards and little down, it will be already merged with the water that of the joining made by the water that of the, where you can say long head of the tricep and the water lateral head of the tricep at its superficial part, and then it forms one big, you can say, muscle bulk. That muscle bulk is the tricep muscle bulk, and at last it goes and gets inserted on the where you can say olecranon process of the ulna at its superior part as well as the what posterior part of the olecranon process of the ulna. So this is what the origin and the insertion of the water that of not only the one head, long head, as well as the water that of the lateral head, but the medial head too. So this thing is that part. Now what is the relation of this? The relation of the water tricep. The relation of the tricep. So relation will be there here, tricep it is. tricep muscle, superficially it is related to the what skin, superficial fascia, deep fascia which is very much thick and it is tough. This is what superficially. Now this superficially may be said to be as a what posteriorly. So you can make it, this posteriorly is called as superficial. Now anteriorly what it will be there, it may be the water deep when you will be explaining the back portion of the water, any structural relations. So now already I have talked about the water superficially or posteriorly. Now in front or deeply it is related to, means tricep muscle. One muscle, very much small muscle which will be located here. So this muscle is the what? Subanconeus, or this is subanconeus or articularis cubitalis. So this muscle will be there here. This is the muscle. Apart from that, the periosteum of the water, that of the, you can say the bone humerus. Then the posterior surface of the water, that of the humerus. This is the periosteum. So this is what you will be having the relations. Then coming to the water, that of the, you can say, apart from that, it is related to the water. Branches of, means deeply or in front, branches of radial nerve, especially the muscular branches, means lateral head, long head, as well as the medial head, where the nerves are reaching. So this will be the thing. Apart from that, there will be the what? Muscular arteries are there, muscular veins are also there for this relations. Now coming to the water nerve supply. Nerve supply for the water, that of the tricep. So this nerve supply for this tricep, radial nerve from its muscular branches. This radial nerve having the root values C6, C7, C8. From the posterior cord of the water, that of the brachial plexus. So this is important. Now coming to the what its action. Action of the water, that of the, you can say, tricep. This tricep muscle does the water entirely the water extension of the water forearm on the water arm at the level of the elbow. Rather you can put it as a water, or if you don't want, extension of the elbow, simple. But coming to the water, that of the, you can say, medial head, I mean to say, when you talk individually, these you can say individual heads, they assist, or rather they comes into an action of the water, that of the, you can say, extension of the water, that of the forearm on the water arm, long axis. So that will be the thing. Apart from that, it also resists the water, that of the extension of the forearm by the water, that of the, you can say, lateral head and the long head. So this is what the total picture of the water tricep. Now if applied anatomy of the water, that of the tricep, applied anatomy when you have come across, you can tell if the branches of that of the, you can say, muscular branches of the water, that of the, you can say, radial nerve, which is coming from the C6, C7, C8 from the posterior cord of the brachial plexus, if that is damaged, now the action of these, either the medial header, lateral header, long header, will be not going to get performed. It is a neural cause. Now take for example, if you at the time of anything, if you can say long header, lateral header, medial header, they are damaged fibers, then also you will be not going to be able to get the perform the action of the water, that all these three heads and also in total, that is the tricep. So that may be the what other. So these are the things that what you will be going to get into the view. So one must know. Now at the time of the what fracture of that of the, you can say upper end of the humerus, that is surgical neck fracture, there may be the water damage for this axillary nerve. So there also you will be going to get the water, that axillary nerve which it will be supplying, those muscles are not able to get the performance action, but it is not a tricep applied. But as it has came into the view, neural, that is what one thing I can tell. But now coming to the what next, articularis cubitalis is another muscle which will be there very small in the what that of the posterior compartment of the arm. Now this muscle, it takes origin from the deep surface of, or rather the anterior part of that of the tricep part, as well as the what that of the small posterior portion of that of the humerus, very smallest part, or from the periosteum, but majorly it will be taking origin from the what deep surface of the what that of the tricep. From that point this muscle will be going to get runs down and gets inserted on the capsule of the elbow joint. Now the nerve supply for this is same as that of the nerve muscular branches which will be supplying to the what radial nerve. So it means articularis cubitalis, or another name for this subanconius, it is supplied by the what that of the radial nerve, same as that of the nerve supplied to the what tricep muscle or the tricep brachii, which will be supplying. Now the action of this subanconius or the what articularis cubitalis is also same as that of the what tricep brachii. So with this, the what posterior compartment of the arm muscles, or the myology of the posterior compartment of the what arm muscle, rather you can say extensor compartment of the arm, is totally got over. Thank you very much for hearing. Thank you. Once again we will meet same time at the same hall. Till then, bye. Thank you very much.